Hey Bullets YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Today is November 5th, 2025. It's been 20 years since this photo finish happened at the Motor Speedway of the South. The 2005 Dinoco 400 finale of the 2005 Piston Cup season. Now, do you remember this picture? You probably do. And you know that this is the finish of the 2005 Dinoco 400. That photo finish is now 20 years ago. On November 5th, 2005, this was the end of a race. That race was held at the Motor Speedway of the South, which at the time held the season finale of Piston Cup seasons, and 2005 was no different for its time. And coming into that race, the King Strip Weathers, the Mean Green Car, Jack Hicks, and rookie Lightning McQueen were all tied on 5,013 points coming into the race. And then, somehow, they all had a three-way tie at the end of the race, with Lightning McQueen having his two back tires blown and using his tongue to touch the start-finish line. Last year, I covered the 43 racers that were in the 2004 Dinoco 400. Where are they now? I considered doing the same for this year, but the majority of the racers that took part in that race also took part in this race. Not all of them, of course, but many of them did. This video, I'm going to give a letter grade to the 43 racers that took part in the 2005 Dinoco 400. I will give them a score in the form of a letter grade, like the one that you might see at school, and grade how good everyone's Piston Cup career was. Starting in 43rd is Ryan Newcar, whose career wasn't too bad, although he crashed out early this race. Ryan Newcar is known as the Rocket because of his ability to start at pole position and rocket to the front of the pack. And generally his career has been pretty good, regularly qualifying for races, especially before 2016, and he did well in the points, although he was never winning the most races in a season, except for 2003, and was almost never a championship contender. So, I give him a B. Finishing 42nd in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Kevin Harvick, who did not do well during this race, but the rest of his career wasn't too bad. He began his career in the second race of 2001 to replace the legendary Dale Earnhardt Sr., may he rest in peace. Kevin Harvick would go on to have a long Piston Cup career and also win numerous races during his career. But as of 2016, I can't spoil everything about his career, but what I can say is that Kevin Harvick has had a better career than Ryan Newcar, and thus I give him the grade of A-. Finishing 41st in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Greg Beeple, who has had a solid Piston Cup career. But unlike Ryan Newcar and Kevin Harvick, Greg Beeple did not qualify for all of the races he could, especially in 2016, the year of his retirement. So I will be giving Greg Beeple a grade of B-, although Greg Beeple was very competitive at certain points of his career. Finishing 40th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Matt Kenseth, the racer who won 2 Piston Cups ago in 2003, only winning one race that season. Unfortunately, Matt Kenseth didn't qualify for every race he could have, because although his career spanned from 1999 until 2016, Matt Kenseth was prevented from taking part in 2 races in 2015 for wrecking Joey Logano, a move that many Piston Cup fans loved, and retired in 2016 because of the next-gen takeover. But Matt Kenseth's career as a whole, I would give him a letter grade of an A, as he's won 1 Piston Cup and has won 22 races during his career. Finishing 39th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Jeff Gorvette, one of the greatest Piston Cup racers of all time, Although his 2005 Piston Cup season wasn't great, Jeff Gorvette has had a great Piston Cup career, winning 13 races in 1998 to win the 1998 Piston Cup, and also barely ever finishing outside of the top 10 in any race during 2007, and also won a second Piston Cup in 2004 in the season finale right before this one in 2005. Jeff Gorvette would earn 58 Piston Cup wins in total, retiring from the sport in 2010, but coming back in 2016 for 2 races for Sheryl Motorsport to replace the underperforming Alex Bowman. In summary, Jeff Gorvette is one of the greatest Piston Cup racers of all time, so I give him an A, but not an A+, because you'll see later in the video, finishing 38th in the 2005 Piston Cup season is Tony Gassworth, who actually had a good season in 2005, but this race wasn't too good because he crashed out early. But in his Piston Cup career spanning from 1999 until 2016, Tony Gassworth has been a Piston Cup great. Not too much in his last 4 years, but from 1999 until 2012, Tony Gassworth never failed to qualify for a single race, and in total, he won 31 Piston Cup races and won 1 Piston Cup in 2002, beating out the King Strip Weathers and Billy Oiltinker to win that Piston Cup. Tony Gassworth has raced well for both Joe Gears and also for himself. For 14 years, Tony Gassworth was among the best Piston Cup racers at that time, consistently competing for Piston Cups. For these performances during his Piston Cup career, I will be giving Tony Gassworth a grade of an A. Finishing 37th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Ryan Thunderbolt Jr., who somehow beat both Jeff Gorvette and Tony Gassworth in this race. Ryan Thunderbolt Jr. was taken out in the big one this race, where Chick Hicks wrecked a bunch of cars. From 1989, Ryan Thunderbolt Jr.'s rookie year, and 2016, the year of his retirement, Ryan Thunderbolt Jr. never really consistently qualified for races, although he qualified for this one, so good job, Ryan. And at least he was nowhere near as bad as Nick Charger and Will Drafter, as Ryan Thunderbolt Jr. has actually finished in the top 20 in a race and has also led multiple laps in the Piston Cup. I can't say too much about a racer who can't really qualify for more than 12 races in a Piston Cup season, so I'll be giving Ryan Thunderbolt Jr. a grade of a D-. Now back to good racers like Chuck Armstrong, who finished 36th in the 2005 Dinoco 400. Chuck Armstrong is famous for flying through the air during the big one and also being towed out to the garage after the big one, saying, "Don't take me out, coach, I can still race." Chuck Armstrong was a strong Piston Cup racer who raced from 1989 until 2007, winning 12 Piston Cup races, including the 2002 Florida 500, and also won the Piston Cup in 2000 over Dale Earnhardt Sr. Back to Chuck Armstrong, and I will be giving a letter grade of an A to Chuck Armstrong for his performances during his Piston Cup career. And don't forget, Chuck was able to do all of this despite having allergies. Finishing 35th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Lee Revkins, who was a mostly average Piston Cup racer who did not qualify for every race in a Piston Cup season. So, he doesn't have that high of a letter grade. I'm only giving him a C. But this race, he actually did pretty well, even taking the lead a couple times before Chick Hicks would ruin his night. And another point that rams home the fact that Lee Revkins will be getting a C in this video is that his successor, Bobby Roadtesta, outperformed him. Finishing 34th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Clark Scruggs, who is mostly remembered for getting upset whenever any negative event happens to Misty Motocross in a Piston Cup race. And also, Claude Scruggs is also remembered because Todd Markus got on his roof during the big one of this race. Claude Scruggs, I'll be giving a grade of a C+ in this video, because Claude Scruggs did better than Lee Revkins on average, as Claude Scruggs qualified for significantly more races during his career. And even when he failed to qualify, he would be more likely to be among the first few cars who failed to make the field. Finishing 33rd in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Hall Ingus. Hall Ingus didn't have that great of a 2005 Dinoco 400 because Chick Hicks wrecked him in the big one. But Hall Ingus did generally have a good Piston Cup career, and that is why I gave him a letter grade of an A. As, like Tony Gassler, he was competing in a hard-to-win Piston Cup season, because after 35 races, there were 6 cars who could win the Piston Cup, and Hall Ingus began that day 5th in points, winning 22 races in total across his career. But after his hard crash in 2002, Hall Ingus was not the same. He was not as good anymore, and then he would retire after the 2007 Piston Cup season. But overall, his Piston Cup career has been quite good, deserving this grade of an A. Finishing 32nd in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Ruby Easy Oaks, who began his career in 1989, succeeding Ronald Oaks. I don't know why I called him Ruby in my earlier videos, but Ruby Easy Oaks was a relatively average Piston Cup racer, qualifying for the majority of races, but not all of them, like this season, 2005. Finishing the season, getting wrecked out of the race by the mean green car. Ruby Easy Oaks even won a couple races, so for this, I will be giving Ruby Easy Oaks a letter grade of a B-. Finishing 31st in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Darren Ledford, who always seems to take the lead at the big tracks, despite never qualifying for a Florida 500, despite having many seasons for him to try. And aside from 2007, when he qualified for the other 35 races, Darren Ledford never qualified for more than 10 races in a Piston Cup season. But when Darren did qualify, he made the races very entertaining, as he would take the lead quite a lot. And he even won 9 times, including 3 times in 2007. Darren Ledford was never the most consistent Piston Cup racer, but when he did qualify, he sure tried to win. So, I will be giving Darren Ledford a grade of a B-. Darren, you could have been an A if you qualified consistently. And finishing 30th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Manny Flywheel. Hooray! Wrecker of the mean cars. But, unfortunately, after this race, the 2005 Dinoco 400, Manny Flywheel would only have 1 more season left in him, retiring at the end of the 2006 Piston Cup season, being replaced by Parker Braikston, who was not very good at all. Manny Flywheel was never a very consistent Piston Cup racer, but he did win 1 race in 1999, which many Piston Cup fans cheered for. Although he had a similar qualifying record to Lee Revkins, I'm giving Manny Flywheel a C+ and not a C, because he is the wrecker of the mean cars. Finishing 29th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Winford Bradford Rutherford, another Piston Cup racer with a reasonably long career. But Winford Bradford Rutherford is mostly remembered for being the car that the mean green car pushed to begin the big one. Winford's career was relatively average, but 2005 was a good season for him, as he qualified for 31 races in a row this season. I'll be giving Winford Bradford Rutherford a letter grade of a C for his Piston Cup career. Finishing 28th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Ernie Gearson. Ernie Gearson was one of the Piston Cup racers with the longest ever careers, spanning all the way from 1973 until 2016. He began his career racing at Thomasville and ended it racing against next generation racers. His career ended when he got replaced with a next generation racer, Nick Shift. Ernie Gearson was mostly anonymous during his early career, but Ernie Gearson, unlike some Piston Cup legends, did not qualify for every single race that they attempted to qualify for. Although Ernie did qualify for the majority of races that he tried to qualify for, winning 17 Piston Cup races, some of which at the Sparrowmint 400, a race that Ernie Gearson was quite good at. Ernie Gearson kept himself quite healthy, which allowed for him to have such a long Piston Cup career. He didn't retire until he was in his 60s. For being a mostly consistent Piston Cup racer, with a few race wins and almost winning the Piston Cup in 1994, I will be giving Ernie Gearson a letter grade of a B. I would have given a B+, but you did fail to qualify for numerous races, and even chose to sit out some because he was tired during his later career. Finishing 27th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is James Cleanair, who raced for 21 seasons from 1985 until 2005. This race would be his final Piston Cup race before Team Vitalin would replace him with Brick Yardley due to his retirement. James Cleanair was a little bit worse than Ernie Gearson when it came to qualifying, as James Cleanair would qualify for the majority of his races, but especially after 1990, James Cleanair would fail to qualify at least once every season. But James Cleanair also won 5 Piston Cup races. Not every racer can say they've won 5 Piston Cup races, so I'll be giving James Cleanair a letter grade of a B-. Finishing 26th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Greg Candyman, who is well remembered as being Tackleman's only real racer. And he didn't qualify all that much, but he did qualify enough, so I'll be giving him a letter grade of a C-. Finishing 25th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is the Piston Cup's 3rd greatest female racer, after Cruz Ramirez and Louise Barnstormer Nash, Misty Motocross. Oh yeah, and don't forget, Claude Scruggs always has something to say whenever something happens to her during a Piston Cup race. But Misty Motocross was very good in her own right, and won 14 races during her Piston Cup career, which spanned from 1982 until 2007, winning her final Piston Cup race, the 5th race of 2007. I don't know why she couldn't finish the whole season though, but she did have a great Piston Cup career. I would give her a higher grade, but she didn't qualify for all the races that she tried to, so I'll be giving Misty Motocross a letter grade of a B. Finishing 24th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Eugene Karbareski, who is known as one of the more aggressive racers during his time, and had a rivalry with Ken Schrader because they were both the number 36. Eugene Karbareski had a long Piston Cup career, spanning from 1983 until 2009, winning 9 Piston Cup races during his career, and also consistently qualifying for Piston Cup races, although he didn't qualify for them all, missing a smaller ratio of races compared with Ernie Gearson or Misty Motocross. Eugene Karbareski was generally a mid-pack racer, so I'll give his Piston Cup career a grade of a B. Finishing 23rd in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Slider Petrolski, the last car to finish on the lead lap. He was nowhere near as good as his uncle Slide Powers, but Slider Petrolski was good enough. He didn't qualify too often, so I'll just give him a letter grade of a C-, but it is better than Kevin Racing Tire's grade. He finished 22nd in the 2005 Dinoco 400, and of course was involved in the big one. But Kevin Racing Tire never qualified for more than 12 races in a Piston Cup season. And also, don't forget, his career ended because he was fired and no other team wanted to hire him. How, Kevin Racing Tire? I will give him a D for his Piston Cup letter grade. At least you weren't as bad as Nick Charger or Will Draftrev. And your grade is higher than Ryan Thunderbolt Jr. because you didn't try to qualify as many times. Finishing 21st in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Rusty Cornfuel, who was another average Piston Cup racer. So I'll give him a letter grade of a C, although he was infinitely better than his cousin, Peter Cornfuel, and not as good as Jack DePost. Starting out the top 20 of the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Brush Curbler, who also had a very long Piston Cup career, spanning from 1985 until 2007. Despite this long career, Brush Curbler only qualified occasionally, like many of the other racers I've mentioned so far in this video, and only won one Piston Cup race in 1993. Since he won one race, I'll give him a C+. Finishing 19th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Sage Vanderspin, who compared to the other racers in this video, had a very short Piston Cup career, only spanning for 4 seasons. But he did win 2 races and consistently qualified in every single one of them. I'm going to give Sage Vanderspin a letter grade of a B+. If he had a longer career, this would look a lot better. Finishing 18th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Dirksen Augustino, who began his career in 1997 to replace the terrible Owen Drivewell, and then his career ended in 2016 to be replaced by Steve Slick LePage, a next-generation racer who was more slick than Dirksen. Dirksen Augustino had a very average Piston Cup career, so I'll be giving him a letter grade of a C. But at least he was much better than Owen Drivewell. But hey, at least Team Trunk Fresh hired Dirksen Augustino, because if Owen Drivewell was still around, Will Draftrev might sometimes look good. Finishing 17th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Mac Icar. Nothing really interesting about him other than him being sponsored by Apple. He was replaced by Matthew Overdrive, who would then do a little bit better than him. I'll give Mac Icar's Piston Cup career a grade of a C-. Finishing 16th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Ryan Shields. Ryan Shields wasn't too bad, but once again, he's one of those racers who is average. So I'll give him a letter grade of a C. He sometimes qualifies, sometimes doesn't, and sometimes he'll appear in the video. So overall, a C. Finishing 15th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Todd Markus. Todd Markus used to be a mean car when he began his career in 1998, replacing Larry Smith. But he would stop being a mean car after getting his very first win earlier in the 2005 Piston Cup season. Todd Markus would win 4 races total, and he qualified for most Piston Cup races, although he should have been able to qualify for more, because bad discipline led him to be late for qualifying several times, which then made him miss out on qualifying races. Like for one race in 2016, he missed out on qualifying for one race, not because he missed it, but since he missed qualifying for a race, his career was basically over because Team Nostall found Jonas Carvers, a next-generation racer, to replace him. Todd Markus did not have a bad career, but it could have been much better. I'll give him a grade of a B-. Finishing 14th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Paunchy Wipeout, a racer who got one win, said he'd be back in victory lane, and then never won again. Paunchy Wipeout was an average Piston Cup racer, but had a massive ego. Paunchy Wipeout, you can't have a big ego when you don't even qualify for 30 races a season. I'll give your career a grade of a C+. Finishing 13th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Davey Apex, Davey Apex seems to fall into the category of average racer who barely qualifies. I mean, he did win one race in 2002, starting from the 43rd position. That is a crazy achievement. But this would be the only win that Davey Apex ever got, and he would never qualify for too many races this season. I'm going to give him a grade of a C+. Finishing 11th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Billy Oilchanger. Billy Oilchanger was a very good Piston Cup racer. Although he never won a Piston Cup, he got many Piston Cup race wins, and in 2002, he came close to winning the Piston Cup. Although, like Ernie Pearson, Billy Oilchanger couldn't qualify for every Piston Cup race. He did have a great Piston Cup career, retiring in 2006, being replaced with Bobby Swift. For his Piston Cup contention in 2002, his 9 career wins, and qualifying for almost every race, I'll give Billy Oilchanger a grade of a B. Just missing out on finishing in the top 10 of the 2005 Dinoco 400, finishing 11th, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Although not as good as his father, Dale Earnhardt Jr. had a great career in his own right. He has 25 Piston Cup wins and has contended for the Piston Cup several times. 2005 wasn't his best season, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. has had a great Piston Cup career, both in the number 8 as well as the number 88 for Sheryl Motorsports. Although injury has stopped him from qualifying for every Piston Cup race since the start of his career, but overall, I'll give Dale Earnhardt Jr. an A- for his Piston Cup career. Finishing 10th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Johnny Blamer! Now, Carfinder, you said that Johnny Blamer qualified for 545 Piston Cup races and did not finish a single one. How can you explain Johnny Blamer still being in this race on the final lap? And also, his win at the 2005 Homestead 350. Johnny Blamer actually finished 4 out of his 545 Piston Cup starts. So Carfinder in this case is wrong. But Carfinder was right that Johnny Blamer was one of the hardest working Piston Cup racers. Normally, a racer that doesn't finish 500 races would be given a low grade. But due to Johnny Blamer's effort, and also the fact that he won one race, I'll give him a C for his Piston Cup career. Finishing 9th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Maury Clutchburn, who definitely deserves the grade that I gave him here, an A, because Maury Clutchburn won 19 Piston Cup races and won the 1989 Piston Cup. And don't forget that Maury Clutchburn never failed to qualify for a single race, starting 1,152 Piston Cup races in a row. Every race from the 1985 Florida 500 until the 2016 LA 500. Maury Clutchburn, be proud of that A grade that I gave your Piston Cup career. Finishing 8th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Ralph Carlo, who has had an alright Piston Cup career. Sure, he didn't qualify for very many races during the majority of his seasons, but 2016 was different as he qualified for the majority of the races in that season, sort of like Winford Bradford Rutherford in 2005. But Ralph Carlo also won 2 races in his Piston Cup career. For these achievements, I will give Ralph Carlo a letter grade of a C+. Not a B- because he didn't qualify for enough races. Finishing 7th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Krusty Roeder. Krusty Roeder was a very consistent Piston Cup racer, not missing very many races, and he also had a very long Piston Cup career, spanning from the early 1980s until 2008, and throughout, despite there being over 100 racers during a lot of his prime, he still consistently qualified for Piston Cup races, and also won 4 of those races that he qualified for. For these achievements, I will give Krusty Roeder's Piston Cup career a B-. Finishing 6th in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Floyd Mulvihill, performing quite well in his first ever season finale. and Floyd Louisville would race until 2016, where he would be replaced by the next generation racer, Richie Gunzich. Although Floyd Louisville wasn't the most consistent qualifier during his career, but he did win 2 Piston Cup races. And for these achievements, I'll give his Piston Cup career a grade of a C+. I'm making it into the top 5 of the 2005 Dinoco 400. We'll be starting with Aiken Axler, who got his first top 5 this race, despite the fact that he made his first start in 1998 and was a rookie in 2003. Apparently, my videos don't seem to line up with some sources that I found only now when trying to record this video. But I'm grading Aiken Axler's career from what you see in the videos on this channel. If the information from those sources was used, then Aiken Axler would have gotten a much higher grade. But he doesn't here because, if you rewatch some of the old videos, Aiken Axler does not consistently qualify. And don't forget that he's part of the legendary Axler family. You succeed your father, Andrew, and you can't even get close to how good he was. And your successor, Phil Tankson, massively outperformed you. And don't forget that Aiken Axler only sometimes qualifies for races. Only a racer with his kind of performances would get a C, or C+, or C-. But I'm giving Aiken a grade of a D+, because of all the hype that surrounded him before his career, and he unfortunately failed to live up to the expectations, despite the fact that he had all of the talent necessary to succeed in the Piston Cup. Now finishing 4th, right behind the 3 cars that tied in the 2005 Dinoco 400 is Kevin Shiftwright, a racer who actually performed well, like his family members. Kevin Shiftwright may have never won a Piston Cup and only won 5 races, but Kevin Shiftwright was a very consistent Piston Cup racer, on many occasions actually being a championship contender despite his lack of wins. And don't forget that Kevin Shiftwright has never failed to qualify for a Piston Cup race. Although his career wasn't very long though, spanning only from 1988 until 2009. I would give Kevin Shiftwright a higher score, but his career was too short and he didn't win very much. So, Kevin, you'll have to settle for an A-. You probably already know that the top 3 all tied in this race. So, for this video, I will organize the 3 races that tied by what order they came in during the tiebreaker race, which means Lightning McQueen is 3rd. And obviously, I will be giving Lightning McQueen a career grade of an A+. 7 Piston Cups, over 90 Piston Cup wins. Easy A+. One of the greatest Piston Cup racers of all time. And arguably the greatest Piston Cup racer of all time. I can say similar things for the King Strip Weathers, who began his career all the way back in 1970. And the tiebreaker race for the 2005 Dinoco 400 was his final ever race, making over 1,200 consecutive Piston Cup starts, winning 203 Piston Cup races in total. And of course he won 7 Piston Cups, winning 5 Florida 500s as well, winning at least 2 Piston Cup races in every single season he competed in. And starting in 1983, did not have a single DNF. The King Strip Weathers is easily one of the greatest Piston Cup racers of all time, and debatably the greatest to ever race in the Piston Cup. Easy A+. And now we make it to the winner of the 2005 Piston Cup by winning the 2005 Dinoco 400 tiebreaker race. Chuck Hicks! Why did you have to win this race? And 39 others! And luckily, this was his only Piston Cup win. Then you look at the grade I gave him and wonder, why is it not even an A? Well, Chuck Hicks is the mean green car and got suspended 31 times and also got banned after 2012. Despite all of his racing talent and all of the good results, I am going to give the mean green car a career grade of a B+. The reason I'm even still giving him a B is because of his actual ability to race in the Piston Cup, and not giving him an A because he's the mean green car. And don't forget, he caused the big one on lap 195. And now that concludes this video celebrating the 20th anniversary of the 2005 Dinoco 400. One of the most notable races ever in Piston Cup history, and grading the careers of the 43 cars that took part in this race.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
If you're still here, here's a bonus. Will Draft Rev gets a career grade of an F because Will Draft Rev is one of the biggest busts in Piston Cup history, only ever leading one lap. The reason why Will Draft Rev is even here is because Will Draft Rev somehow actually qualified for this race. But the reason why he didn't make it was because his hauler was lazy. You're probably hoping that I'm not lazy like Will Draft Rev is due to the lack of uploads. Well, unlike Will Draft Rev, I'm actually able to qualify for a Piston Cup race. And also, the 30th race of the 2016 Piston Cup season is still in production. And the reason why uploads have been slow is because I'm working towards completing the Advent Calendars videos. I'm not sure how much time I'll have on my hands, or tires in this case, to complete 25 Advent Calendar videos. So I've already gotten to work on some of them now. But don't forget that unfortunately, the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine is still ongoing. This war has been going on at a full scale for over 3 years now. The war as a whole began over 11 years ago in 2014. The Ukrainian people just want to live in peace and have freedom. But due to the tyrant and bully, Vladimir Putin, who not only hurt Ukraine, he also hurt his own country of Russia, hurting its reputation to gain Crimea, the Donbass, and parts of the Kharkiv, Zaporizhia, and Kherson Oblasts, rightful territories of Ukraine. We here at the K.A. Bullets Piston Cup YouTube channel stand with Ukraine in their struggle against Vladimir Putin's tyranny and recognize Ukraine's true borders as shown by this map. Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava, Nechai Shvitsya Darovetsia, Ukraini Permoha. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. May Ukraine be granted victory very soon. Before I even posted this video, I already know that there's going to be a comment saying that the war is over. There is lots of ways for me to prove that the war is not over, and I don't need to go all the way to Ukraine to prove it to you. There are lots of news articles and lots of videos all over the internet, including here on YouTube. If you go into your search bar and search up Ukraine news, you will see plenty of evidence that the war is still ongoing. Just because it doesn't appear in your YouTube recommended page or in your main news feed doesn't mean that the war in Ukraine is over. I even check looking for news articles before I make these videos, because if I knew that the war was over, I would talk about it one more time, and then I would not add it to the end segment of every single video. And if you're still watching this video, thank you for watching all the way until the end.